Thank you so much, Tariq, for joining us today at this pre-meet webinar. My name is Sarosh. I have seen you in, of course, every past forum that has happened. And, it's really admiring and inspiring that, professionals like you, of course, you guys are so busy, but still taking the time out to lead, these kind of platforms just to provide us an amazing platform to network, to get, resources, to find people, to network. So this is amazing. For this year's forum in particular, forums like this, it's always good to, come and see people talking in the panel and what have you. But what we found, what's needed is basically people, audience, or the attendees who comes at these kind of conferences that do feel that urge, or to the platform to connect to the speakers, to the leaders, industry leaders that they only able to see, or just follow them online and not being able to get connected. So we came up with this idea that why not we provide a platform to have these luminaries sit down and have a one-on-one conversation, and if not one-on-one, have like a one-to-many on like a table round table setting, and have people come with their questions, advices, and what have you, and they can get in touch with all these luminaries directly. So we have, designed this unscripted track so that luminaries will have a conversation with all the attendees for 90 minutes straight, and the timings will be from 4 to 5:30 at the day of the event. So that being said, and again, I mean, you are such a, I mean, known personality, being a global president for Open. I want to start with the question: how did it all started? Where was Tariq uh, when Open was not found, and where do you see yourself now? And what's your vision for future for Open as a global?
Great. First of all, thank you so much for the opportunity.
Absolutely.
Um, Before Open was formed, I was somewhere in a college being an immature, selfish professional. Um,
Okay.
25, 30 years ago, it was a very different marketplace. And just like any young college graduate would be looking for a career long term, I was doing the same thing. And I didn't have the resources that a lot of us do today.
I'm sure.
So, most of this was an accidental growth. I was very fortunate that I spent first 18 years of my life working for major fortune companies. That's where all the
Right.
learning and failures came from.
I
And
see.
about 15 years ago, I had an itch of being an entrepreneur. So I started a
Mm.
company, and it went through all the stages of, maturity and growth. Uh, you have it.
Got it.
And then about 20 years ago, I got connected with the academia, where I started teaching at New York University. And as the time has passed by, I'm very fortunate that I am doing things that I love most, which is teaching and giving back to the community, where Open comes in, nonprofit organization.
Hmm.
And I'm very fortunate that I also have a team that I have given my company to, and they do a better job running that company than I did. So obviously, as you mature in your life, you realize that, how do I want to leave this world? And it's all about leaving legacy. So
Hmm.
that's when people look back and says that, how am I leaving this world? And that's where nonprofit world comes in, and Open is an important part of my life in that sense.
Absolutely. That's awesome. So you just mentioned that you have started initially working with, Fortune companies, and then, you got a good experience under your belt, and then you moved on to the startup and, started working the teaching. So you like very dynamics. What is one thing that keep that inspired you at the first place and keep inspiring you, and then you keep you motivated to do these kind of things, all this time?
I think it all depends on the personality as well, right? Some people are very comfortable making a career path in a professional life and they have no desire to be an entrepreneur. On the other hand, some
Right.
people have, an innate innovative bug in themselves and they want to create something. So it
Mm-hmm.
depends who you are. I don't think I was neither. And I was more
Okay.
opportunistic in a commercial way, that I was very happy with my growth in professional organizations, but I get bored. And
Wow.
as you grow up in a large organization, and I work for Fortune 50 companies,
Mm,
the higher you go in the company, the more corporate politics becomes a part of your daily routine.
absolutely.
And when you become an entrepreneur, the
Hmm.
good thing is somebody asked me the difference between working for a company and being an entrepreneur. And I told her that when you are working for a company, your salary is guaranteed, your job is not guaranteed. When you're an entrepreneur, your job is guaranteed, but your salary is not guaranteed. So I think I
That
wanted
is
to
a
take
very
that
good point.
plunge,
Yeah.
and they both have been very good to me. So obviously, it's a different kind of uh, challenge that you
Mindset.
give yourself.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. So, of course, you have the, entrepreneurial skills and all that. What would be the lesson that you think that's the biggest lesson that you have learned from, and then, keep implementing based on that lesson in any direction that you go to?
I think the most important thing, whether you're having a first job interview right out of college,
Mm,
or you are pitching to a venture capitalist for your second funding, uh, every moment, every company that has been acquired, every company that has exited, every person who has gotten a job, every person who has gotten a promotion, it is all about what value do you bring to the table. So every individual should think that, when I'm applying for a job or starting a company, what value do I offer? And it's
mm,
all about value creation. What can you do for someone which is unique? And when people see something unique in you, they want to hire you, they want to promote you, they want to invest in your company, they want to buy your company, they want to, do some business with you. So I think a lot of time we miss out on this opportunity that we have a lot of valuable things, but we never highlight. So I recommend every person, when I'm talking to young professionals or I'm talking to mature entrepreneurs, that try to see that what value are you creating in whatever you're doing.
do you really believe in, like, of course I do agree with you that sometimes you really, and that's another thing, I guess that's a topic for some other time, that we really have to not just train our folks for academically, but also make them able to really sell themselves. Like, basically we are trying to prove ourselves in front of other people, and that's the thing that I always see, that there is a lack, there is a gap between this. What do you I mean, are we like planning to do this sort of work and open and in near future? I don't know if I'm making sense, but I want to have like a workshop where we train the folks to be able to more uh able to present themselves, in a better way, and not just academically.
I think soft skills are very critical and important for
Yes.
everyone. And especially keep an eye on who's hiring you or who's investing in you. Sometime if you are a Gen Z, the person that you're doing business may be Gen X, right?
Mm.
So you have to engage them, and the rules of engagement has to be to their favor. Get to know them and understand what their requirements are. And even if you're a business entrepreneur or pitching up a new company or a new idea, what is the difference between a good innovator and a great innovator? Good innovators always solve a problem that exists, and great innovators create a problem that didn't exist and then solve them. So, for example, Martin Cooper created the first cellular phone, and he solved a problem when he was working for Motorola. Steve Jobs created a problem that didn't exist. He told us that, your compass, your credit card, your music, your phone, your everything has to be in one place, and they call the smartphone, right?
Mm.
So whenever you're putting something together, don't do what everyone is doing. Identify something unique, create a case for it, and know how to package it. One of the most, I'm a marketing professional by training and by education. So at the end of the day, I see everything from a marketing perspective and lens. The best qualified or most qualified person, the best person doesn't always get promoted or hired. The person
That's
who's
true,
packaged well
actually.
and prepared well. And so
Yeah.
same goes for the entrepreneurs as well.
Absolutely. No, that's something, very inspiring, and I'm sure so many people can relate to it, and then they can, make it work like the way you said. Um, you have got such a great experience and all the marketing skills. How do you define success when you were at the beginning of your career? The milestones that you achieved, you think, okay, oh my God, like I got what I needed, and now that after so many years, how do you define, like, are you still I mean, how do you define success? If that's what the question.
I think it's a very loaded question. So in first half of our career, we are trying to pursue success. In the second half, we're trying to pursue happiness. So success is defined by others and happiness is defined by us. So, coming from an Asian American family, my parents wanted me to become a doctor, lawyer, or engineer. And I was neither
And
one
no
of them. And
surprises.
I
Okay.
did enter college as a CIS major, computer information system.
I
In
see.
first class,
Okay.
I realized that my DNA doesn't match, and I just couldn't take it.
Hmm.
And when I took a marketing class, it was love at first sight. So, very important thing I think is don't go after the success that's defined by the world. Create your own mojo. See what really excites you the most, and then if that makes you happy, I think success will automatically follow. It becomes very difficult when you really have to pursue a career just because your parents or someone else asks you to do that. And a lot of times, we make that mistake. Yes, everyone
Yeah.
wants to get into an AI, which is, I think, is going to be the future of this world. But if you're not connected, if the artificial intelligence doesn't really excite you, then stick with the OI, which is
Exactly.
the original intelligence, and put your mind into it and see how you can really make your own career path.
That's awesome. No, this is amazing. And unfortunately, maybe not at this time where Gen Z is not really like under this impression that, oh my God, we have to become what our parents want us to. But millennials and, a generation before that, we really were the target of what our parents wanted to become, what wanted us to become. So, but it's all good. I mean, of course, we learn as we go. I want to ask about one of, let's say, the leadership misconception. What is this? What is one misconception that you think people have about leadership? When it comes to big companies as compared to the startups.
Well, I've written this in my book also. First of all, leadership is an activity that motivates people to get out of their comfort zone and follow someone we call leader.
Yeah.
Every entrepreneur is not a leader. Um, if you're an entrepreneur, and some entrepreneurs are good leaders. So I think leadership is a very different skill set. You need different traces and ingredients to be a leader. And leadership is a responsibility. There are a lot of traits of a leader that are innate. We are born with them, and I cannot or no one can teach you how to do that. And some of them, many of them are very learnable,
Yeah.
traits. So I think one has to self-analyze and understand. But one very important change that I'm seeing in leadership. So there are three elements of leadership. One is your IQ, the second is your EQ, and the third is your SQ. So IQ is the intelligent quotient, EQ is the emotional, and SQ is this social. Now, with the advent of artificial intelligence, a lot of the IQ is being neutralized. So, someone is speaking multiple languages. There was a great strength that you had. In next few years, it would probably be meaningless in that sense. So I think the more emphasis would be on emotional intelligence and social intelligence. So people need to spend more time because, right now there are less than 3 million humanoids or robots working. But by 2050, which many of the millennials and Gen Z would be in
Absolutely.
workforce, there would
Hmm.
be more than 300 million humanoids. So, and humanoids, the difference is the lack of emotion. So I
Hmm.
think we should not let go of the emotional intelligence that we have. And if you want to be a good leader and if you want to lead, make sure that you bring and understand people emotion, become human. And the incoming workforce is very different. They believe in companies that believe in social causes that they believe. So I think a leader's job is to be constantly adaptable and see the changes around himself or herself and be able to adapt in those changes and really become more of a servant leader and serve people.
Yeah, that's very insightful. And another thing that I wanted to raise by this statement that a leader can be someone who can also provide mentorship. Because if I mean, what do you think a mentorship can what kind of impact a mentorship can have on the young generation, young professionals especially, if they would like to go in that direction.
Yeah, I strongly recommend every young person that have three types of people in your life
Okay.
professionally. One is a mentor, the other person is a coach, and the third person is a sponsor. So, mentor is someone who is always has good intentions for you, is willing and able to help you. maybe or may not be out, from your industry, but someone who can give you time on a regular basis. So that's a mentor. So mentor is a must. You should have a mentor. In addition to a mentor, have a coach. Coach is more skin in the game, right? Coach is someone that, if you lose, the mentor doesn't lose with you. But if you lose, the coach loses with you. So someone who's probably more engaged, involved, and committed in your career and your growth. So make sure you have a coach who's someone who doesn't play the game, but stand on the sideline and constantly guide you. And then a sponsor. A sponsor is a person who really fights for you even when you're not there. So these three types of people are very, very important. So I didn't follow that when I was in early stages of my life because I did not know that. But now
Mm.
I tell everyone, even in my classrooms and my public speaking, I strongly encourage because this generation is much smarter than the previous generation. Every incoming generation is smarter
That is
because
true.
of the resources that they have, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So you have so many resources, you have access to information so quickly and so rapidly, then make sure that you really identify good resources in people who can be your mentors, who can be your sponsor, and who can be your coaches.
That follows me with the next question. You did answer that you didn't have it once you, I mean, of course, you know, at the time when we didn't have those facilities. However, there must be someone or something who or what inspires you, or I would say, be your inspiration. When and how did you find it?
I think my inspiration came accidentally.
Okay,
Every time someone rejected me, they became an inspiration. So the first
interesting.
promotion, someone says that you cannot run a marketing department. That inspired me. That say, okay, now I have to do that. When someone
Okay,
said that you're not an entrepreneur, you don't have the discipline to
no
be an
skills.
entrepreneur. I
Okay,
said, okay, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. When someone says you cannot teach because it's a very different skill set, I said, okay, I'm going to be a teacher. When someone says that you cannot give back to the community in a meaningful way, I said, okay, I'm going to get involved in nonprofit world. So all these things has been really an inspiration. Everyone who rejects you, actually sometimes unintentionally, that
mm,
is kind of doing a favor to you because they ignite a fire in you.
that is very
That you say, okay, now they said that I cannot do it, I must do it.
that okay. That's I mean, so that piece of rejection has motivated you and that become an inspiration. This is like an amazing turnaround that you can get from a negative thing to and turn it into a positive. Um,
No,
w-
not just to an important note is that I would not be faithful to myself if I say that everything has happened that way. Yes, there are many door
I'm
openers.
sure. I'm
Yeah, who
sure.
came, in my professional career who have been door openers and, people who have guided me. And till today, I mean, now I have a mentor. Now I have a coach. Now I have a sponsor very, at this stage of life because I learned late. But you learn a lot from your mistakes because success doesn't teach you
Absolutely.
much, failure does.
Absolutely. Would you like to share one story or one short of an incident that was a turning point into your life to become who you are?
Okay, depends on how
We
much time you have.
we
Probably.
still have 8 minutes, so we are good.
Okay. So this is a very interesting story. About 23 years ago, somebody approached me. I was working in professional environment, and for a Fortune company, and they said, "You have a very good resume, but you're missing a nonprofit board." And I said, "Why should be in a nonprofit board?" He says, "It'll look good in your resume."
Mm,
And I joined a nonprofit, not joined, but we started a nonprofit organization for a very selfish reason. So some of us friends got together and says, hey, there should be an organization that provides a scholarship for Asian children because there was nothing for Asian children. There was a
mm,
scholarship for Hispanic and blacks in US. So for very selfish reason, I was in corporate life and I wanted to add another nonprofit name to my resume. And I
mm,
started working with them and being a marketing person, I brought marketing discipline to that. And we started giving a scholarship, and there were many other people who did uh, much more heavy lifting than I did to build an organization. So
mm,
I was responsible of marketing the organization. I used to do a gala every year. And I think it was in the sixth year of the organization that we were doing a gala in New York City with 1,000 people sitting in the audience and who's who, major leaders. And one young girl came to me and said, Mr. Tariq Khan. I said, yes. And she said, can I hug you? And I thought maybe it's a daughter of a friend of mine. And I said, sure. And she really hugged me real tight, like someone who knows me. And I looked at her, I said, do I know you? She said, you have changed my life. I said, my children don't say that. How can you say that you have changed my life? She said, my name is so and so. I'm from Fremont, California. And my family comes from Sikh family, very conservative. And I was born in California, but when I was growing up, I was told that I would get married very at young age and I don't have to pursue higher education. But I really wanted to go to a top university. And the community that we built in, our parents didn't have a lot of money, but the community that we lived in didn't really encourage people going outside and marrying. So making the long story short, she said when I was in high school, I started dreaming about college. And I was told by my advisor and my parents that I should go to community college at most because in the next few years I'll be getting married. But I didn't
Mm,
want to give up on that dream.
mm,
And while I was looking for information, I saw your organization gives a scholarship to Asian American children. Those days, it used to be a paper application. So I sent my application and I started wishing that because parents didn't have the money to send me to a good
mm,
college.
mm.
And then when I called your organization to follow up, they told me that they received my application 2 days late, so they cannot accept the application. And
Oh,
I cried all night that night
oh my
because
God.
my dream was shattered. And then out of desperation, I went to your website and I started looking at the board of directors. And
Mm,
you're the only one who looked like my family. I said, then what happened? She said, I got your phone number and I called you up. I said, okay. And she said, I got you on the phone and it was a very short conversation. I told you what happened and you said, let me see what I can do. And
mhm.
then you hung up the phone. And I said, what happened after that? She said, then a week later, I got a call from the office and they said one of our board members has recommended your application. And I said, what happened? She said, I just want you to know that I graduated from Harvard and now I'm
Oh
going to
my God.
Korea. And everything was paid
Oh
for.
my God.
And all of a
Wow.
sudden, my dry eyes became,
Wet.
tearful. And I said,
Oh
are you
my God.
serious? She said, yes. I said, what about the parents? And she said, they're the proudest parent. They're sitting in the audience. I said, you're coming
Mhm.
next as a speaker
As a
on the
speaker?
stage and sharing your story. Because sometimes unintentionally, you do things that you're not aware of, and that changes your
Absolutely.
life. And I think that was the new beginning or 2.0 of my nonprofit world. And then I looked at nonprofit very differently. So
Okay.
that we are all involved is because sometime you can make a difference in someone's life and you don't even.
Absolutely. So did you remember that at all when she was telling you that about that call?
You know what, I used to talk to
Or
so
did
many
they
people,
agree?
but her story was, and I have an attitude that came from my mother, never say no to people, although this is not a good habit professionally. But wherever I can stretch myself out,
Mm.
so I tangentially could have talked to her, and I do remember, making some calls for people, because what's the big deal if someone's application is 2 days late, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's always a hit or miss. And then I said, I remember, yeah, it was a long story, but I said, thank you so much for doing this to me.
No, but this is, I
What did
mean,
I
of
do?
course, it's like, universal way of paying you back because if something that is entirely into your hands and not something that you need to put into the system and all that, so you did it and,
Yeah,
this
we're
is
not
just amazing.
circumventing the system. We are not
Yeah.
being unfair to someone. This is a young girl who applied, and things get delayed in mail all the time. Yeah. Thankfully, we don't have to
Absolutely,
do that today.
very
Yeah.
inspiring. I really hope that, this recording will, of course, we are recording it, but we will get this out. And, this is such an amazing story for someone, especially young professionals, to be, to just keep striving, keep trying, and not really stop, or get disheartened. So I'm just gonna, with the last question, what advice would you like to give to our young professionals who will be and attending this forum and the forums in future, or whoever is watching this webinar, for their future?
First of all, I'm really very hopeful of our next generation because they're really gifted in many ways. Yes, there are some soft skills that they need, which I encourage them to pay attention to. But I think one of the most important feature or one of the most important trait that you can have a part of your personality is resilience. Don't give up. Things will not go the way you want them. I think you start your new life once you leave your home and go to college, right? Up until high school, everything that you want in your life, if you're living with your parents, you pretty much get it, right? Because you're the
Absolutely.
king of the hill in that household, or the prince of the house, or
Mm-hmm.
princess of the house.
Mm-hmm.
So I always tell them that it's very important, don't, always be resilient. And an advice to all men or all boys or all young adults, uh, listen to women around you. It's very important. We're living in a world, 50% of the population is women. They always bring more creative and sense into a conversation. Uh, the world has not been very fair to them. My age of people, we still have a gender pay parity gap in this country, but now I'm seeing more and more active role of them. So I am all for having more women in leadership position. And if you are a young man, make sure that you listen to your mom. Make sure you listen to your sister. Make sure you listen to your friends who are women. And if you're an older person like me, make sure you listen to your daughter as well, because they bring a lot of sense to you. So I think it's very important, but don't give up. Things do take time, but they'll come. And remember, every time you're failing, you're getting closer to your success. So it's 9 out of 10 failures really end in a very good success story down the road.
That's awesome. I wish I could have more time to ask you more inspirational, questions and get, more inspiration from you, but we will leave that for the day of event. And I'm going to let you go. Thank you again so much for your time. We are really excited to see you on November 8th at Santa Clara Convention Center. We will be sending out the follow-up emails regarding the whole logistic details and everything. But if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to the team, and I'll see you on November 8th. Thank you so
Thank you. And a
much,
closing
Tariq.
note, I'll encourage
Yeah,
everybody to become a part of open ecosystem. You could be a volunteer, you could be a charter member, you could be a member, but do give back. This is a wonderful organization that every person should be a part of.
I cannot agree more. And the reason why these kind of chats are so important, because I myself was the one who started working with Open as a volunteer, and now I'm a track chair. So, like you said, if you keep, moving on, and you will get the opportunity. You
You get
just have
training of
to.
leadership right here, just like you leading,
Yeah.
track. So we wouldn't meet if it was not for open.
Exactly. And this is the soft skills that I am getting trained, and I'm getting the experience at no cost, where I couldn't get it anywhere else. Either I would have to pay
And
it.
access to people that you otherwise are very difficult to get.
Absolutely. That's it. So it's totally worth it. So thank you so much again for your time. I will see you on November 8th.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Looking forward to it.